Blend Money and Ellis Part 2 is launching, and I'm so excited to show you the palettes. I mean, just even look at the outside packaging. You can already get the vibe of what this collection is all about. So the first Ellis palette is very, very colorful, and this is kind of on the more neutral side with lots of different varying tones as well as some warm tones, and I feel like this really balances it out. And a huge congratulations to Blend Money and Ellis on this beautiful collection. So let's get into the pieces. Two parts technically. There is one large matte palette, but then this also comes as separated into two different palettes. So you can get either these three columns or these three columns separately if you didn't want to get this larger palette and you wanted more of these kinds of tones or these kinds of tones. And I love that they split it that way. I think that's really smart, and all the pans are magnetic, so you can start to create your BYOPs with some of the newer Blend Money palettes, which I am so excited for. So this palette retails for $42, but if you just want one half of it, you can snag that for $21, which I think is an amazing price. And then I think the most exciting part for me, especially because I am a sparkly shimmer lover, and that is the Garden of Stars palette, which is an all shimmer palette. I never thought we would live to see the day where Blend Money would launch an all shimmer palette. I know I remember seeing on their stories sometime a while ago that they were on the fence about it, so I'm really happy to see that they did it. And in this palette you have 18 beautiful shimmery shadows. There are some that are a little bit more opaque, some a little bit more topper like. We have iridescent as well, and I think that this goes with this matte palette so well. And this palette is $48, which I think is a steal because of all the beautiful shimmers you're getting. And I will be showing you detailed swatches of all the shimmer shades and talking about the texture, finish, is it opaque, is it a little bit more sheer in the swatch part of the video. And this collection is launching August 1st, which is today, the day that you're seeing this, at 10 a.m. PST. So let's take a look at all the shimmers. I'll show you two looks and I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. I'm going to be swatching the shades two at a time. So here is Luster and here is Gleam. Pretty much the same texture. I feel like Gleam maybe has just a slightly more piecier texture, and Luster is definitely a topper shade. I'm going to add another layer so you can see them built up. So you got a little bit of sheerness to both of them. This one has like almost a little bit of a silvery reflect, but it's like a pale, cool tone pink. There's a little bit of blue sparkles throughout it, but you have to look really close. And then this is just a really beautiful rosy pink with bright pink or purpley flecks throughout it. Again, you have to be really close to see it. So I'm adding another layer. You can see this one definitely got a little bit more opaque, a little bit more stronger pink, and this one got a little bit more silvery. And then in the close-up, you can just see a little bit of that. It almost actually looks aqua and not blue. And then this one has the purpley pink flecks throughout it. Very sparkly, very smooth, and they don't feel squishy. Next two shades are Glimmer and Gilded. I feel like there's a little bit of a textural difference here. This one is more of like a very smooth metallic, and this one's got a little bit more of shine and sparkle to it. Let's see if I can swatch. This one definitely could be a little bit sheer if you wanted to, but it does have quite a bit of a stronger base to it. And this one definitely is, this one is a beautiful gold. It's kind of like a darker gold. Just adding another layer. Glimmer has a reddish brown base with a silvery reflect to it. And here they are close up. So my neighbor just started playing music, so you might hear that a little bit, hopefully not too much. The show must go on. This is Bronzite and Nightshade, and Nightshade does have a green shift to it from my angle, the way I'm looking at it in the palette right now. But it's a little bit like a lighter olive green straight on. And then Bronzite is a beautiful kind of neutral brown with different flecks throughout it. And definitely has a pretty heavy base. And then here is Nightshade. I'm just going to add another layer here. It almost has a little bit of a grayish, maybe slightly leaning brown kind of base to it. And Bronzite, I feel like it's actually reading a little bit warmer now that I've swatched it. So it's going to depend on your skin tone. And I can see green and pink flecks throughout this. Really predominantly green for sure, a bit more noticeable. And you can see the forest green shift in Nightshade. Next two shades are Perline and Infused. Very smooth. I feel like these are a little bit more like a smooth metallic versus kind of like some of these other shades have a little bit of a pieciness to them. And these two could definitely be more sheared out if you wanted to. This is a predominantly gold iridescent. This is a warm, almost leaning a little bit orange brown with like a gold reflect to it, just a little bit, like a lighter gold. And not really a shift in either of these shades. I'm going to add a little bit more infused, so you can just see how much you can build that one up. So you can really see the base. And close up. Next up is Realm and Estranged. And I feel like Realm does pick up just a little bit thicker, a bit more opaque as well. Here is Estranged. And here is Realm. Love this kind of shade. It's got a purple base with a yellow reflect to it. It's super, super interesting. And Estranged has a pink base with a silvery reflect, or like a white icy reflect. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Luster. So let me swatch those two together somewhere here. So here is Estranged. And then here is Luster. I feel like these are actually super similar, which is interesting because in the pan, they don't look like they would be similar. I think the difference between them is really, really nuanced. If anything, Estranged has a little bit more of a truer pink base, while this one's reading a little bit more peach. But they are super, super similar. Next up is Elusive and Haunting. Love these two. Again, very smooth so far, no squishy shades. This is a little bit more, reading a little bit more iridescent on my skin tone, but this one is that kind of teal shade with a pinky purple reflect to it. I'm gonna add another layer, but I feel like the base in it is a bit subtle. And then Haunting is so magical. You know what this shade reminds me of? It looks like Bloodhound from Touch of Glam Beauty, but like a smoother formulation, but very, very similar. So it has a warm reddish brown base with a very beautiful, super bright blue reflect, and it shifts to purple. Next up is Splice and Lucid, and these definitely pick up a little bit more piecey. You can kind of see the texture is just a little bit less smooth. These are definitely some of the more piecier textured shades in here, and this one for sure is going to be a little bit more opaque. So again, this is Splice, which is beautiful, kind of teal with a gold reflect, but definitely more of a topper-like shade. And then Lucid has a bright blue reflect, slightly leaning aqua and shifting to purple. And in Splice, I feel like it looks more teal in the pan than it actually looks swatched out. So that's very interesting. I actually almost see a little bit of like a taupey grayish base in there. And then here they are close up. Next up are Vitality, which is a darker shimmer and definitely fully opaque, and then Alloy, which is a topper diamond-like shade. I do not think you will be really able to share this one out. And this one's definitely a little bit more of like this one reminds me of a little bit of Skin of a Killer, so it has that just a slight like taupe in there on certain angles with the lighting. And then here's close up. And the last two shades are Phantom and Pantheon. And I feel like there's a ever so slight difference between the level of shine here. This one is just a tad, a little bit more shiny, but they're very opaque. But I actually feel like this one is so beautiful. It's like a charcoal gray silver. And then this is a black with just a tad bit of silvery sparkle. It's so, so good. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit more to this one. Love that. I feel like especially on an angle you can see it's almost like a super dark brown, like charcoal brown base to it with a dark gray reflect. So not like a true silver. So you can definitely see just a little bit less shine in this one. But I do really like it. I definitely prefer this kind of shimmer versus like a black matte with sparkles in it. I primed with the Morphe Brushes eyeshadow primer, and I think I'm gonna go in and contrast like the oranges with the cooler tones and then bring it together with the shimmer. So I'm taking Sizzle and I'm gonna put that onto the inner crease and only take it about halfway into my lid if I was splitting my lid into 2 sections. I did just wake up and it's been a long 3 days at the office, so if I sound a little tired, it's because I am. And next I'm taking Ignite and I'm gonna just deepen that up a little bit. Just adding on and then kind of blending it up. And then the outer half is gonna be cool tones. So taking Wilt and putting that onto the outer half of my lid. And I'm just gonna try to not blend it too much with the orange, but it's kind of... And then taking a different brush and I'm picking up Primal. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. Just deepen it up a little bit. And I whipped off the brush and I'm taking Ancient and I'm gonna pop that on the inner lid. I wasn't gonna do a halo eye, but here we are. And the outer corner. And this is the kind of tone of a dark brown where it's still going to work with the orange. And I'm just slowly, really tiny bit blending it up, but I really want most of the intensity to be closest to my lash line and then underneath my lower lash line. And then I'm going back in with this brush and a little bit of Wilt and just blending this out. I mean, look at that blend. I think I'm gonna go back in with a little bit of Ignite just in here just to re-intensify a little bit more. I'm taking Singe and I'm just gonna put it and blend this out further. And for the shimmer, I picked up Infused, and that's just gonna go right in the center. And I will be extending it all the way up. I did not use any sort of primer, I just wanted to go in with my finger and kind of tap it on. I can tell that these are all super fine particle shimmers. I'm just kind of merging the edges of that with my finger, really make sure they're smoothed out so that there's no harsh lines. And I added the dark brown here just a little bit, and I'm taking Infused, and I did mist my brush with just some water just to help avoid too much fallout underneath my lower lash line. And I'm just popping that in the center. Here's the first finished look. For the second look, I really want to play with the mauve shades and then maybe the grays, but I might do a monochromatic look. I'm actually starting with Deception, and I'm going to first put that on the outer corner on an angle, and I'm just kind of trying to create a wing shape, but I will be kind of smoothing it out but keeping the lifted look. And then taking a little bit of Conscious, and then wiping off the brush and taking Subdued, and that's gonna go all the way on the edge and just keeping it kind of up. I'll probably just still need to clean this up a little bit, but and then taking Embalm. So now we have this nice gradient. I'm gonna go back in with the darker shade just to re-intensify. Next I'm taking Vapor, and I'm gonna put that right next to all those shades, more kind of in the center of my lid, and slowly blend it in. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it more or less like this and then just add shimmers, because I do want a really nice inner corner highlight swooping up here. Picking up Estrange on my finger, and I'm just gonna pop that starting kind of in the center of my lid, and then moving outwards and then kind of on an angle, and then bringing it up a little bit into my crease. Maybe brought it out a little too far, but I can just go back in and kind of blend away some of the sparkles. I think I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of this deepening up shade. I do kind of think I want to make this even more smoky, so I'm going to take a tiny bit of Obsidian and I'm literally just going to put it right up against my lash line. Wiped off my brush, and now I'm just going to go in and slowly kind of smudge this out, essentially, but keeping it really controlled so it just really stays out here and it doesn't go all the way out there. and then maybe go back in with a little bit more of the mauve shade. I think that's definitely more of what I was kind of imagining. So now I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit more, but I'm leaving that inner part of my lid blank, and then I'm actually gonna use the What's Up Beauty R107 brush. It's a nice little bit of a larger pencil pointed brush, and I picked up Perline and I misted it with just some water, and I'm gonna pop that. This is like a really light gold, and I'm just gonna pop it right up here and just hug the center shimmer. And here's the second finished look. So first let's talk about the mattes. If you've been on my channel, you know that I love Blend Money mattes. I have been loving them since day one, since the Blends palette. They're one of my absolute favorites to reach for because they are just so easy to use, and I know I'm not going to have any issues layering, blending away, etc. And this is definitely no exception. All the mattes that I used so far, even for this look, I had a great experience with, just like all the Blend Money mattes that I've always loved. I really love all the shades in here, and I really also like that they stuck with the columns because it makes this so easy to use. You can of course use the palette by column, or you can mix in between, and I feel like there's just so many looks you can create with this because of the varying different tones. And I also love that you can buy these two separately, so it really is dependent on what kind of tones, which side do you feel like you would get the most use out of, and it's only $21. I feel like that's an amazing price. I definitely see myself reaching for this palette a lot on a day-to-day basis, and then of course it's perfect to pair with the Garden of Stars palette. I love the graphics on this one as well. So cool. Just really knocked it out of the park with everything with this collection. This palette is going to get a lot of use. This is exactly the kinds of shades I gravitate towards on a day-to-day basis, and having it with these mattes makes it really easy to come up with looks. And of course use this with other palettes from Blend Money, something more colorful shades to layer these over some more colorful tones. I really love the variety in here. There's some that are a little bit more interesting. For example, Bronzite has the green flux throughout it. There's some shades that could be more topper-like, like Perline and Alloy, and a little bit of luster as well. Haunting is a beautiful duochrome multichrome. It is what I have on my lid right now, and then on the inner corner I have luster, and I'm really happy to see that none of these shades are squishy or overly emollient or anything like that, which makes me not really concerned with creasing with this palette, which is part of the reason that I will definitely be reaching for this palette, knowing that I'm not going to have creasing issues with the shimmers. There are a couple that are a little bit more kind of extra sparkly, kind of similar to some of the other palettes, like the All Done Up palette, and then some of the shades are more of like a smoother metallic, and you can see that from the detailed swatches part of the video. It's a really nice mixture. And then Pantheon actually reminds me more of the shimmers from the most recent Beauty Below palette, in a way that it has just a little bit less shine. It's very opaque, and it has almost a little bit of slickness to it, but it's not really squishy like some of the shades in that palette. So I'm very excited to use up some of the shades that I haven't used yet, so stay tuned because I'm definitely doing a reel with this palette. And I really love that we have all the different colors. You can have a pink or a green or a gold, neutral, blue, teal, aqua, purple. You have just a little bit of everything, which again makes this so versatile. And for $48, I just cannot believe it. It's an amazing price. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this collection. Are you picking anything up? And again, huge congratulations to Ellis and Blend Money on this part 2 collection. And if you enjoy this kind of content, you love seeing swatches of shiny, sparkly, and shifty shadows up close and tutorials, then you can check out some of my other videos that I will put up on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.